Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. Life is not a rehearsal. You don't get a practice run, you don't get to rewind it, and you don't get extra credit for worrying too much. You get one shot at this thing called life, and the question is simple: are you enjoying it, or are you just surviving it? Life is short, and the biggest mistake most people make is waiting for the perfect moment. Let me tell you something, there is no perfect time. If you're waiting for everything to line up, for the money to be right, for the fear to disappear, for people to approve, you're going to spend your whole life waiting. Time doesn't pause while you're trying to feel ready. Life keeps moving, and every day you hesitate is a day you don't get back. See, a lot of people think confidence comes before action, but that's not true. Confidence comes from doing. Courage shows up after you take the step, not before. Most successful people you admire were scared when they started. They doubted themselves. They didn't know how it would turn out. But they moved anyway. Waiting didn't make them safer. It just delayed their progress. Some of you are putting your joy on hold. You're saying, one day I'll enjoy life. One day I'll travel. One day I'll follow my passion. One day I'll be happy. But what if one day doesn't come the way you planned? Tomorrow is not promised to anybody. That's not negative, that's reality. And when you understand that, you stop wasting time on things that don't matter. Fear is the biggest thief of time. It convinces you that staying where you are is safer than trying. But staying stuck is its own kind of failure. At least when you try, you grow. At least when you move, you learn something about yourself. Regret lasts longer than fear ever will. You don't need permission to live your life. You don't need everyone to understand your vision. Some people won't clap for you until you win, and that's okay. This is your life, not a group project. The longer you wait for approval, the longer you delay your purpose. Life rewards action, not intention. Good ideas don't change lives, executed ideas do. Dreams without movement are just wishes. And wishing doesn't require courage, but living does. Every step you take, even the wrong ones, shapes you into who you're meant to become. Stop thinking you have to have it all figured out. Nobody does. You figure it out as you go. Growth happens in motion. Life happens in motion. If you fall, you get back up smarter. If you fail forward. Enjoying your life starts the moment you stop waiting and start living. Not when everything is perfect, but when you decide that today matters. Right now matters. This moment matters. Fear and comparison will rob you of joy faster than almost anything else in this world. Fear tells you what might go wrong, and comparison tells you why someone else is doing better than you. When you let those two control your thinking, you stop living your life and start watching everybody else live theirs. That is a dangerous place to be. Fear is loud. It exaggerates problems that haven't even happened yet. It shows you worst-case scenarios and convinces you they're guaranteed. Fear will have you overthinking, hesitating, and doubting yourself, even when you are fully capable. And the crazy part is this: most of the things fear warns you about never happen. But the damage fear does while you listen to it is real. It keeps you stuck, it keeps you small, and it keeps you from enjoying where you are right now. Comparison is just as destructive. The moment you start measuring your life against someone else's, you lose peace. You don't know their story. You don't know what they sacrificed, what they struggled through, or what they're dealing with behind closed doors. Social media will show you their wins, not their wounds. And if you keep comparing your behind the scenes to somebody else's highlight reel, You will always feel like you're behind, even when you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Everybody has a different timeline. Some people win early. Some people win later. That doesn't mean you're late. It means you're on your own path. God didn't design two people to have the same journey. When you compare, you're questioning your own design. You're saying what you have isn't enough. What you are isn't enough. And where you are isn't enough. That mindset steals gratitude. And without gratitude, joy cannot survive. Fear and comparison together will paralyze you. Fear says, don't try. Comparison says, why bother? And if you listen to both, you'll talk yourself out of opportunities meant specifically for you. You'll shrink your dreams because someone else seems further ahead. You'll stay silent because you think your voice doesn't matter. But the truth is, the world doesn't need another version of someone else. It needs the version of you that only you can be. Joy comes when you stay in your lane. When you focus on your growth, your progress, and your blessings. Joy comes when you accept that you're still a work in progress, and that's okay. You don't have to be perfect to be happy. You don't have to be first to be fulfilled. You just have to be faithful to your own journey. The moment you stop comparing and stop letting fear lead, you breathe differently. You move differently. You enjoy life as it is, not as you think it should be. And that's when peace shows up. Gratitude has the power to completely change how you experience life. Not because it removes your problems, because it changes how you see them. When you focus only on what's missing, life feels heavy. When you focus on what you still have, life feels possible. That shift alone can turn an ordinary day into a meaningful one. Most people think they'll be grateful after life improves, but it actually works the other way around. Life improves when you become grateful. Gratitude trains your mind to recognize blessings instead of burdens. It reminds you that even on your worst days, something is still going right. You may not have everything you want, but you have something someone else is praying for right now. Gratitude grounds you in the present. It pulls it out of regret about the past and anxiety about the future. When you appreciate the moment you're in, you stop rushing through life. You start noticing small things, a quiet morning, a shared laugh, a deep breath, a safe place to sleep. These moments don't seem big until you realize how empty life would feel without them. When you practice gratitude, complaining loses its grip on you. You stop magnifying problems and start minimizing their control over your emotions. Gratitude doesn't deny pain. It puts pain in perspective. It says, yes, this is hard, but it's not all there is. That mindset builds emotional strength and keeps your joy from being dependent on perfect circumstances. Grateful people handle setbacks differently. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? They ask, what can this teach me? That question alone turns obstacles into opportunities for growth. Even disappointment can shape character when you choose to learn instead of bitterly dwell. Gratitude also improves your relationships. When you appreciate people, instead of expecting perfection from them, you create healthier connections. You notice effort instead of flaws. You listen more. You love better. And when you express gratitude openly, it multiplies. People feel seen, valued, and respected, and that energy comes back to you. There's also peace in gratitude. When you stop chasing more, long enough to appreciate enough, you free yourself from constant dissatisfaction. Contentment isn't settling. It's recognizing your worth isn't measured by possessions or status. It's measured by presence, purpose, and perspective. A grateful heart is harder to break When life shakes you, gratitude steadies you. It reminds you of how far you've come, what you've survived, and who stood by you. It helps you enjoy life, not because it's perfect, but because it's still yours to live. Mistakes are a part of living, not a sign that you failed at life. Every person who has ever accomplished anything meaningful has a long history of getting things wrong. The difference is not that they avoided mistakes, but that they didn't allow those mistakes to define them. Too many people turn one bad decision into a life sentence, and that is never how growth was meant to work. When you make a mistake, the first thing that tries to show up is shame. Shame tells you that you are your failure, that you are not good enough, and that you should hide. But shame lies. A mistake is something you did, not who you are. If you could learn from it, it wasn't wasted. If it taught you something about yourself, it served a purpose. Mistakes expose areas where growth is needed. They reveal habits, thinking patterns, and choices that require change. Without failure, there would be no wisdom. Without falling, there would be no reason to get stronger. Every lesson you carry today came from something that didn't go as planned. Regret becomes dangerous only when you stay there. Looking back briefly to learn is healthy. Living there permanently is destructive. You cannot move forward while staring in the rearview mirror. The past is a reference point, not a residence. What matters is not what went wrong, but what you choose to do differently now. Some of the most painful mistakes are the ones that involve other people. Words said in anger, chances taken for granted, trust broken. These moments hurt deeply, but they also teach empathy, accountability, and humility. When you take responsibility instead of making excuses, you regain your power. Ownership is the beginning of healing. Fear of making mistakes keeps many people from trying again. They'd rather stay comfortable than risk being embarrassed. But avoiding failure also means avoiding growth. Life expands through courage, not caution. Every attempt builds experience, and experience builds confidence. Forgiving yourself is just as important as learning the lesson. Carrying guilt doesn't make you better, it just makes you heavier. You deserve the same grace you would offer someone you love. When you release self-condemnation, you create space for clarity, peace, and progress. Mistakes don't disqualify you. They prepare you. They sharpen your judgment and deepen your understanding. When you stop seeing failure as an ending and start seeing it as education, life becomes less frightening and more forgiving. And that shift makes it easier to live fully and honestly. Happiness is a personal responsibility, and that truth is hard for a lot of people to accept. Many of us grow up believing that happiness comes from outside sources: people, money, success, recognition, or circumstances. We tell ourselves we'll be happy if someone treats us better, if life becomes easier, or if things finally go our way. The problem with that thinking is simple. When you hand the responsibility for your happiness to something outside of you, you lose control over it. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will change. Money can come and go. If your happiness depends on those things, your joy will always be unstable. You'll be up when life is good and down when life gets hard. Taking responsibility for your happiness doesn't mean life won't hurt. It means pain doesn't get the final say. You cannot expect other people to fix what's broken inside you. Love can support you, encourage you, and inspire you, but it cannot replace self-awareness and self-work. Waiting for someone else to make you happy puts pressure on relationships that they were never meant to carry. Happiness starts with knowing who you are, accepting yourself, and choosing peace, even when things are not perfect. Your mindset plays a major role in how happy you are. Two people can experience the same situation and feel completely different about it. One feels defeated, the other feels challenged. The difference isn't the situation, it's the perspective. When you take responsibility for your happiness, you start managing your thoughts instead of letting them manage you. You stop feeding negativity, resentment, and bitterness because you understand the cost. Happiness also requires boundaries. You cannot be happy while constantly pleasing everyone, tolerating disrespect, or ignoring your own needs. Choosing happiness sometimes means saying no. It means walking away from what drains you, even if it's familiar. That's not selfish. That's self-respect. There will be days when happiness feels harder to reach. On those days, responsibility looks like rest, honesty, and patience with yourself. It looks like choosing not to quit on your life just because things feel heavy. Happiness doesn't mean smiling all the time. It means staying connected to hope even when you're tired. When you take responsibility for your happiness, you stop blaming and start building. You focus on what you can control, your effort, your attitude, your choices. You learn that joy is something you practice, not something you wait for. And the more you practice it, the stronger it becomes, regardless of what life throws your way. Enjoying life truly begins with faith, courage, and action working together. Faith is believing that your life has meaning, even when you cannot see the full picture. It is trusting that you were created on purpose and for a purpose. Without faith, life can feel random and overwhelming. With faith, even difficult seasons carry meaning. Faith gives you the strength to keep moving when the results are unclear and the road feels uncertain. Courage is what allows faith to show up in real life. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. Every meaningful step in life requires courage. Speaking up, starting over, trying again, trusting someone, chasing a dream, all of it demands bravery. Courage stretches you beyond comfort, and growth never happens in comfort. When you choose courage, you choose expansion over safety. Action is where faith and courage come alive. Belief without action is just intention. Courage without action is just emotion. Action is what turns hope into reality. Many people believe deeply and feel strongly, but they never move. They stay stuck in planning, dreaming, and waiting. Life responds to movement. When you act, doors open, clarity comes, and confidence grows. Faith helps you accept that not everything will make sense right away. Courage helps you step forward anyway. Action helps you discover what you could never learn by standing still. Together, they create momentum. Momentum changes how you experience life. You stop feeling powerless and start feeling engaged. You stop watching life happen and start participating in it. There will be moments when faith is tested, courage feels weak, and action feels risky. Those moments are not signs to quit. They are signs that you are growing. Comfort does not require faith. Routine does not require courage. But transformation does. The life you want is on the other side of consistent, imperfect action. When you live this way, enjoyment comes naturally, not because life comes easy, but because it becomes meaningful. You begin to trust yourself more. You recognize your resilience. You appreciate progress instead of perfection. Even setbacks feel different when you know you're moving in alignment with purpose. Faith gives you peace. Courage gives you strength. Action gives you results. When these three guide your life, you stop waiting for happiness and start creating it. You learn to enjoy the journey, not just the outcome. And that mindset allows you to live fully, boldly, and with intention every single day.